Hello and welcome back to the Interesting Lawyers Podcast. I'm your host, Russ Adler. I've been in the studio quite a bit shooting a lot of content for my new course, Mindset Upgrade for Lawyers, but it's great to be back for my next podcast episode. Today I have one of the most likable lawyers that I've ever met. Full disclosure, I've been doing coaching work for him and his partners for about 3 years. He's a 10-year lawyer. He's really come a long way. He's in personal injury practice with his two partners. He started out as a law clerk, and it's just a very nice story. And today we're going to talk about likability. And likability is one of the most important things about each of us. Some of us are likable according to us and unlikable to others. Some are likable and everyone likes them. But for lawyers and anybody else, likability is so important because studies have shown if you're likable, more people will believe you, more people will trust you, more people will engage with you, and will have a relationship with you, professional relationship or otherwise. That's why it's so important. Today's guest, Alex Jean from Long Jean and Wechsler. I'm really happy to have him here. Alex, thank you so much for joining us today. Let's bring the mic a little closer to you.
Thanks, Russ. Thank you for having me on the show.
Really?
Yeah.
So as I was saying, I don't like to overly compliment people, but
I know you don't.
is that old proverb, flattery is like perfume. It's supposed to be smelled but not swallowed. And that's something that a lot of young lawyers, it's applicable to because they have big egos, right? So anyway, tell us a little bit about your firm, your family. Who are you?
Thank you, Russ, for having me on the show. Alex Jean, personal injury attorney. My law firm based out in Pompano, Long Jean and Wechsler. We specialize in personal injury, wrongful death accidents, trucking cases, catastrophic type injuries. And since you're bringing me on this episode about likability, they always get on my ass about, oh man, you always want to be liked. And it's not a matter of me being liked. It's just a matter of my upbringing, who I am. And I think in this profession and being a young lawyer, not just being actually a young lawyer, young black lawyer, I'd say there's been a lot of hurdles in my life that I've had to overcome. And it starts with my parents. They've always just said, do the right thing. Don't be an asshole. Don't ever think you're better than anyone. And it's just something that I've used throughout my whole life. And quite frankly, I think it's made me a bit successful because in our industry, it's very high stress and you got type A lawyers and not everyone wants to be fighting all the time.
Yeah, there's a lot of truth to that. There's so many lawyers, so many law firms, or is it just that there's so many billboards along the interstate? It seems that every half mile or so, there's another billboard from a law firm. And your firm just joined the Billboard Club, didn't it?
Yeah, we did. We're on that train now. We're a billboard lawyer. I didn't think I'd ever be one, but there we are.
It's really a necessity just to get your name out there. Everything about social media and the internet and TikTok, it's just all a battle for eyeballs, right? And when you're driving, obviously, a lot of people drive looking at the cell phone. And
Keeps me busy.
Yeah, that's why there's so many accident cases that flow from that, but it's very unfortunate. I handled dozens of those distracted driving cases, and I myself am distracted.
Yeah, I know. That's why I don't get in a car with you.
But anyway, look, you're three good-looking guys, and you never get a second chance to make a first impression, which is a really true saying in life. And you guys, you have great faces, not just for radio, but for the internet and for billboards. Eyeball time while driving, that's why billboards are so important. I guess all the law firms caught on.
Right. It was just important to get our faces out there, my good-looking face out there. And I think we've done a good job building a brand with how we treat our clients and the results that we get for them. But that's just another reassurance when they're leaving our law firm or they're driving on the road and they go, oh, there goes my lawyer. So it's just something refreshing to be like, these guys really have made it.
So do you model yourself after any lawyer? Any one lawyer you worship?
I wouldn't say worship, but growing up, I loved watching Johnny Cochran.
Yeah.
In the OJ trial.
So by the way, I have a quick story. So I was in Las Vegas years ago for the Mass Torts Convention. The speaker was Terry Bradshaw, the retired Steelers quarterback. And there's all these guys walking around with these golf shirts on. It says the Cochran Law Firm. And Johnny Cochran. So anyway, so I go up to one of these lawyers and said, excuse me, the Cochran Law Firm, it's Johnny Cochran? Yes, it is. Okay. He's been dead for 9 years. So why just his name? He did a whole franchise operation, and apparently it was successful. They're in many different cities. Sure. Today I have the most likable lawyer, in my opinion. Do you think you're likable?
I've heard it once or twice, but that's just who I am. I would like to think of myself as a likable person because you get more flies with honey. And whether it's meeting a client for the first time, you got one shot at it, right? The first impression is the lasting impression.
Yep.
So you give them a nice smile. You talk to them like a regular human being. You don't think that you're too good for anyone. You're not arrogant. You're not cocky. They'll gravitate towards you. And I think that I've done that in my career, and I've been very successful with clients coming to me, and those clients send their friends and family.
And it goes on, doesn't it?
It goes on
And as
on.
more people move to South Florida, there's more cars, there's more distracted driving, there's more people, more carelessness,
That's right. More business.
and more business for you.
That's right.
So it's playing right into your hands. I think it's well deserved. In fairness, I've done quite a bit of work on you since we met. Can you tell us about what you were like as a younger lawyer before you became so refined and smooth?
Crazy to think that I'm not a young lawyer anymore, but I still think I'm a young lawyer.
Oh, you are.
Not yet. I haven't passed that threshold yet. But oh man,
What's the threshold?
your age, I think, right? What are you, 60?
I'm asking your threshold. My age is not relevant.
I think that threshold is, well, actually, I think I'm there because I've made a name for myself, and these older guys, these older lawyers, they've made a name for themselves, and I think I've had the opportunity and the position I put myself in to make a name for myself, but I still got a lot of work to do.
Yeah. Time flies by, and next thing you know, you'll be in your 60s like I am, looking back at guys like you. And I remember all the guys I used to work with, and so many of them look so different these days, not in a good way.
My son's 2 years old, and it seems like yesterday I was rocking him to sleep, and here he is. He's running around, and it's nice. It's a refreshing thing. 35 years old with a law practice. I'm blessed, definitely. So there's no reason not to be nice to people because I've had my trials and tribulations.
Yep. I think all three of you are nice, and you have this wonderful, rare thing at your law firm where you have no turnover or very little turnover, and you seem to get better people than the people before them when you hire. Yeah. I think that kind of speaks volumes about the fact that you're not assholes like some other lawyers. So what are the top three things that make you so likable according to you?
You know, it's always hard to talk about yourself, but the top three
Not
things.
for you.
The top three things, being likable, huh?
Yeah. Okay, appearance. These are my top three. Yeah, this is yes or no.
Sure, go ahead.
Appearance, do you agree?
I'd agree. Appearance.
Smile.
Smile.
Sense of humor.
Sense of humor.
Do you deploy that with potential new clients?
I do. With a sense of gentlemanliness, a good smile goes a long way. I think Maya Angelou said it best. People don't remember what you said or did to them, but they always remember how you made them feel.
That is so true. I run into people all the time. I haven't seen them in 20, 30, 40 years, and they say, oh, you always made me feel so-and-so. And
Right.
it was a good thing.
Correct.
But that's for your future. Right now, you're laying down that concrete that people are going to walk on for the rest of time. Alex, we both know a lot of lawyers, and without putting a name on it, do you know lawyers who are unlikable?
I know plenty of them. I've
Hey.
dealt with plenty of them.
So what is it that makes them unlikable? And along the way, tell us if you used to have any of those qualities yourself.
I've had my run-ins with unlikable lawyers.
But just describe them categorically.
Angry, mean, just egos. I don't know what they're compensating for, but there's no sense in always fighting, right? There's one case that sticks out in my mind. I was dealing with a defense lawyer. It's a motor vehicle crash. I won't mention any names, but this was an older lawyer, probably practicing for about 30 years. We had a case together, and we were going back and forth. I was filing motions to compel, motions for sanctions, and
Yeah, but he can bill for all that.
yeah, he can. And I'm doing him a favor. I'm making him money too, right?
Yeah.
He just didn't like it too much, though. I know we had a hearing. The morning of that hearing, it was in front of one of the Broward judges here, and he calls me before the hearing because he never reached out to me. And he goes, "What the fuck are you doing?" I go, "What do you mean, what am I doing? I asked you for this discovery long ago. You never gave it to me, so I got to do what I got to do. And now you're reaching out to me today to try to hash it out. No problem, let's hash it out." And he goes, I don't know what you're basing it on." And so I said, "All right, let's let the judge decide." So we went for the judge, and the judge ruled in my favor. And I get back to my office, and he picks up the phone, calls me at my office, and he starts going on and on and on. And
Saying
then,
what?
"Who do you think you are? You're some young lawyer. You think that you can call the shots?" I'm like, come on, there's no sense in doing all this. And I said, if we can't talk like gentlemen and professionals, then there's no sense in talking. I hung up the phone with him, and he blasts off an email to me, and he's It was just some throwing jabs at me, Russ. I don't remember. Quite frankly, I don't care because I just brush it off. I don't get hung up on these unlikable lawyers because they've got probably things going on at home or whatever it may be, and that's none of my business.
I know that early on when I met you, that was something you struggled with. You were taking these things personally.
Big time.
And I told you that the old Chinese saying, let it roll off of you like water off of a duck. Don't let it in.
And that's what I've done.
And
I've learned to do that.
Has that worked out well for you?
It has. And I remember when I was a younger lawyer, I used to just really take everything personally, and it was just causing me stress. And you told me one day, you said, dude, just roll it off. Let it go.
Be like kelp.
Be like kelp.
Go with the flow, baby.
That's it. And it's done wonders for me. I got a wife and kid at home. That's the most important thing to me. Dealing with these type A guys and trying to kill myself, I'm not going to indulge with them. I'm not going to subject myself to it. And I think that the judge actually saw how much more composed I was than he was. And I think being likable, judges see that, jurors see it, defense lawyers maybe might not like it, but they see it, and you get a little bit more. Like I said, you get more flies with honey when you're a little bit nicer.
Yeah, and didn't the nasty lawyer end up settling the case with you right before your motion for sanctions was going to be heard?
He did.
Did you file the motion, or you didn't get to?
I didn't even get to file the motion. I was preparing it, and I actually filed the motion, then set it for hearing, so it was lingering there. And he didn't pick up the phone, though. It was someone else from his firm that ended up settling the case with me. And I got way more than I was asking for in the beginning. So I think matching his energy maybe got me somewhere, but I did it in a little nicer way.
My worst experience, there are actually several of them with nasty lawyers. But one of the most memorable is I'm just talking to this lawyer on this case about just nothing in particular, nothing exciting. And all of a sudden, he goes off on me, screaming, yelling, fuck you, and this, and it got worse. It was awful. Tirade, and he hangs up on me, and I was shocked. Where did that come from? What was that about? That was the worst time I've had. That was my worst experience dealing with
I think I read some of your
lawyers.
depo transcripts for us, and
Yeah.
I don't know, I think you match their energy as well.
Everyone has their own style about that. It wasn't even about that. It was just about a case. Anyway, the guy calls me the next morning to apologize. He didn't say why. But then I started to learn more about bipolar disorder. And the guy turns out he's bipolar. And I actually had some cases with lawyers who were bipolar and against defendants who were bipolar. I think 5% of all humans are. Do you have any clients? You know about it? People who have it?
I do have clients who have that bipolar multiple personality disorder, and 1 minute they're cool, calm, collect, and the next minute they're off their rocker, and it's crazy. But that just goes back to being likable and being nice to people, because you don't know what people are going through.
What about your most stressful moments? Tell us about those.
Stressful moments?
Yeah.
Oh man,
it's not as easy as you seem to
No, it's not.
think. But I'm glad you have that mindset.
Yeah, I put on the face, but in the background, I'm stressed out and dealing with clients, because it's such an honor to be a lawyer where people come to you with their problems, but you carry those problems with you, right, on top of the own problems that you have. So I actually have a case that I'm handling, and it's involving catastrophic type injuries. And dealing with that case is probably one of the most stressful moments, dealing with the family and everything that they're going through. It's a lot, but they trust you, and you got to put that poker face on and go to bat for them. And you got to do what you have to do to get the job done.
I agree. I know you're very passionate about it.
I am.
Look, we all know some lawyers who they don't seem very passionate about what they do. They're just in it to win, hopefully, and get their paycheck. Other lawyers take sport in the game. In other words, they love what they do. They enjoy the process of doing it. They're creative. They're into it. And, of course, they're into winning as well. So do you take sport in the game, or are you just in it to win it?
I take sport in this game, Russ. There's nothing better than someone else playing checkers, but you're playing chess.
I'm happy to hear that, because you've got game.
I think my wife would say that, but I don't know. Maybe. I think I got game.
No, you got game in terms of just dealing with people.
There's a certain type of swagger that you have to have when you're playing this game.
Well, it all starts with the smile. You and I share that quality. I'm always smiling.
Yeah. What's there not to smile about? We're here.
It's my default setting.
Right.
No, but a lot of people do not like that. But again, it's something that attracts people. that energy, right? I think that's really propelled you guys a long way. And by the way, this is like a perfectly diverse law firm. You got a black guy, you got a WASP, and you got a Jew who acts like an Italian.
You would have sworn he was from the boroughs of Queens or something.
He's really from Coral Springs.
Right.
Wah, wah. What a mix of characters you guys are. I forged many relationships with clients, and that again, that speaks volumes for who you are.
Right. And I think that's what goes towards this episode, the likability. And I appreciate you bringing me out and thinking that I'm one of the most likable people that you know. But just like when people say you got to have it, I think being likable, you got to have that as a lawyer, because people come to us and they trust us. And if you're not likable,
You know what the it is, right?
what's that? Game.
You've got game. Like I
got
told you
game.
before.
I
Yeah.
appreciate that, Russ. I appreciate it.
So where do you want to be in 20 years? How old are you now?
35.
Oh, God, to be 35 again. I would make so many changes. Be so much wealthier, especially.
20 years, I would still see myself practicing law, but having a firm with associates and me handling the big time cases coming out of my office when it comes time to take sport in this game, that's where I like to see myself. Teaching young lawyers how to navigate through this game of personal injury.
I think you would be great in front of a jury, and I can't wait to get you in front of one.
I think so too.
What, are you excited about that?
I'm very excited. I tried cases when I did criminal defense when I was a younger lawyer, and the people at home, the jury, they want to see a show. And I put on a show. I think that's where you get people's attention. If you're sitting there just reading off notes, that's not going to get you anywhere. You got to be quick on your feet, and you got to resonate with people.
And you're sounding just like Rick Block from Morgan, who was on here. Heavy hitter, trial lawyer, frequent flyer. And
I'm trying to get my miles in.
you are, slowly but surely. Alex, you shared with us earlier that you had several barriers in life that you had to overcome to get where you've gotten. Can you share that with us?
Sure. Being a black man in America, that's definitely one of the biggest struggles that I've had in my life. And people would say, oh, it's not about race, and why you bring up race? It's been very difficult. Getting to where I am. I remember one story sticks out in my mind very clearly. I was leaving my parents' house. I think I was in college. And actually, I was in law school. And I was heading back to class. And there was a cop that pulled me over. And I had basketball shorts and just a regular T-shirt on. And he said there was a burglar in the neighborhood, and he'd like for me to roll my windows down just to check out my car. And I rolled the back window down, and there was a suit hanging up. And this fucking cop goes, I didn't expect that. And I go, what didn't you expect? You didn't expect that there was stolen goods in my car, or what? So you got a suit there. He goes, what do you do? I go, I'm a law student. And he goes, oh, wow, I didn't expect that. And I go, why wouldn't you expect it? Because of what? Because you don't know me. Why would you not think that? Just walked away, and he goes, all right, you're good to go. But obviously, we both know what that was all about. It's just being black. And I was in a fairly nice car. And I just think that it didn't resonate well with him that I was a well-spoken black man in a nice car and a suit hanging up in the back of my car.
Yeah. There's still a lot of hate for many things, including race.
Of course.
Any other specifics about how that's become a hurdle for you?
When I first started practicing law, this still goes back to the race thing. I walked into the courtroom. I remember which courtroom it was. I walked in. The bailiff stopped me, and he says, you need to take a seat. And I said, sir, I'm an attorney. He goes, let me see your bar card. I go, do I really need to show you my bar card? You think I'm just telling you I'm a lawyer? Why do I have a suit on and a briefcase in my hand? What, do you think I'm a defendant? And I knew one of the other bailiffs had known me because I was an intern for a particular judge. And she goes, oh, hey, Alex. I go, hey, how you doing? And the bailiff turned ghost. And he goes, oh, I apologize. You can come right this way. And I go, maybe next time you shouldn't judge a book by its cover. So.
Good for you.
Yeah.
I'm sorry you had to endure that. I think that's terrible.
You don't have to be sorry. It's just the world we live in, but that's why I walk around with a smile on my face, and I don't let that kind of shit bother me.
Yeah.
Because it's going to continue to happen, and it's just the way that I got to deal with it.
It did affect me when I practiced. I had a case with a lovely black man who got hurt in a crash, and he and his wife were there at trial with me. And there were some blacks on the jury, but the defense managed to get rid of all three of them. And when that happens, lawyers can challenge the basis for them getting rid of them, because if the judge concludes they got rid of them because of their race, that's an improper reason, and he can deny the strike, so to speak, and keep them on the jury. So in this particular case, I made the challenge for each one of them. And on one, she said she goes to church often, and we just don't think she's a good fit. Some complete bullshit reason. Another one also went to church, but he would sing and dance at church. So they said, we think that means he's too liberal for us. Just three of the most ridiculous bullshit reasons of all time. You know why they did it. The guy did not do well. And this is 25 years ago in Broward County. But I know it's real, and I know it happens often in cases. Civil cases, too.
Of course, more so criminal, but it happens a lot in civil cases. I represent a lot of the black community, and there's always this perception of fraud, particularly Haitian clients getting into accidents and faking accidents or whatever it may be. And I think it's honestly bullshit, and that's why I work with all types of people. But particularly when it comes to black people or my Haitian clients, I really go to bat for them. I go to bat for all my clients, but I know some of these people don't have a voice, and they are already judged. And I think it's just devastating that in 2024, we're still dealing with this kind of shit.
Yeah, I remember when a lot of them came here and got established. I will tell you, I think they've come a long way in many ways. I don't think it matters as much to a lot of people, people as much as it did back then. But there's still hate, there's still prejudice. There's no excuse for it at all.
It can work in my favor sometimes, though, too. I remember when criminal, there was a specific juror. She was an older Haitian lady.
And by the way, you speak Creole.
Fluent Creole.
So how has that helped you get cases, get clients, and how does that differentiate you from the other lawyers? You're the real deal, and you speak Creole, and you have game.
And I got game. I think that speaking Creole, I should, right? I'm of Haitian descent, but speaking Creole, I can relate to my Haitian clients. They almost look at me as if I was their son or if I was a brother. So it's nice when they come to my office and right off rip, I'm speaking to them in Creole. They are absolutely just floored because it's like a business deal. You got to do a business deal in the language that you know. Mm-hmm. And having clients, you're doing a business deal with them.
Are there many other lawyers who speak Creole in South Florida?
Very few. So I'm in a kind of niche where a lot of the Haitian clients come to our law firm because they know that they're actually going to talk to an attorney that speaks Creole.
You know what they say, the riches are in the niches.
That's right.
That's a great niche, and I think you are helping these people a lot. I know there's communication barriers when dealing with people who only speak English. It's tough.
100%.
Interpreters, and it just makes the whole thing very choppy. So, Alex, thank you so much for joining us today. You're a really interesting guy, in addition to being a likable guy and a good-looking guy as well. And I think that's going to really take you far in life. I wish you well, my friend.
Thank you, brother. Appreciate you. Thanks.
All right. So that's a wrap.